no one actually told me this. This was just a misconception from my head. Like I just thought that the living situations were not going to be the best, but they're actually very, very good living situations. Like the housing that's over there is actually very nice, even as a non-rate. I mean, if you get stuck in the compound, the compound's nice. It's all right. You'll know what I'm talking about if you get there.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Military Journeyman. My name is Julian, and today I'm with my good friend Hadi. Hadi is back from Bahrain, and he spent a year out there. So if you want to be able to listen to that video and find out if Bahrain is something going to Path 4 SWAT is right for you to be able to skip the ACE school wait time, definitely check out that video. It'll be somewhere up here or down in the description. But Hadi is now he is actually in Elizabeth City going to AMT A school. So he actually knows which type of unit he's going to be going to, which is C-130s. Things have changed quite a bit recently with this new Airman program.
Yeah, drastically.
Yeah, so we're going to be covering what that is like. Sounds like it's almost like a cross between like the Striker program or like the old Airman program before you actually went to A school. So we'll be talking about that in this video. So Hadi, if you wouldn't mind, kind of explaining, how you got to your unit in Clearwater, what that process was like. Is everybody and really what is the difference from the Airman program now versus going aviation prior to?
So as I mentioned previously in the last video, took my leave out of Path 4, and then I reported to my not A school. I reported to my unit, which is Air Station Clearwater. Backtrack a little bit. Back when I was in Pat 4, I was the apprenticeship program it wasn't a thing. It wasn't until I think it was like 2 weeks prior to us departing Pat 4 that we actually got word that the program was kickstarting. So everyone that was going AMT or AET, any kind of aviation rate that was in Pat 4, we all just kind of figured that we were just going to report to A school and do our 6 months and graduate as petty officers. But then things changed. So they kind of just like dropped the load on us, honestly. So 2 weeks before leaving Path 4, they gave us a list of all of our picks. They gave us 14 picks based on how many people are in the class. And we basically all just ranked our picks from top to least to desired picks. I was told today that picks go off of time and service, or what you get depends on your time and service, your marks, and I think the third one was awards. I'm not sure what the third one was, but I'm pretty sure it was awards. So yeah, all of us put in our picks prior to being in A school, it's completely different because previously you would actually have to compete for your spot in A school based on your grade point average, how you conduct yourself in around the training center, things of that nature. So they kind of just did away with that. So we got our picks. I got my number one pick, which was Clearwater, Florida. There were a lot of really good picks on the list. So basically everyone kind of got what they wanted. So yeah, I reported to my air station, and that's kind of like when A school actually started. So A school started for me when I reported to my unit, because now this program is kind of like a hybrid. It's like a cross between online and like actually being here at in Elizabeth City. Getting to my unit, we got a syllabus that we had to complete. We have online classes that we had to complete, modules with tests, student discussion boards. If any of you have ever been to any kind of like online college, it's quite similar. So we did that for about 2 months, and after you do your 2 months at your air station, you go to Elizabeth City and you finish out the remainder of your A school. That being said, the 2 months that you're spending at your unit is very, very important, because you definitely learn a lot You learn a lot more being hands-on with the the airframe that you're billeted to, versus being in A school and not getting that experience. A school is kind of very general, very broad. They kind of just go over, like, it doesn't matter if you're fixed wing or helo, they kind of go over everything. But versus, like, if you know which platform you're going to be on, you you get the training, you get the experience. Even though it's just a short amount, but you still get a lot more than you would if you went straight to A school.
That's a pretty big thing as far as like knowing where you're going to be ending up. So does that mean, for the different, and is this for AMT, AET, and AST?
Yes, it's both for both AMTs and AATs.
Got it. And what about for the ASTs? Do you know what that
No,
is like?
not the ASTs. No.
ASTs still do the full school at Elizabeth City and
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal. Is you're able to decide where you're going to be going before you even go to AMTA school. So for people that are interested in going AET or AMT, you're saying that the time in service and your marks, how your performance is, plays a really big factor before you even go to your A school. So you could, if the A school is 2 years, during those 2 years, you really you're the rest of your career or your next unit at least is really dependent on those first 2 years that you're waiting there and how your performance is as an on-rate.
Yes. So like I said, this is a brand new program. Actually, I'm like part of the very first class that's doing this. So, like, we're kind of like the guinea pigs, test subjects of this entire program. Yeah, I would say for any non-rates that are looking into going to AMT or AET and want to get that or want to get their pick, definitely do the best you can and get high marks. And obviously, like, time in service is just time in service. So just do your best. And yes, that could definitely determine whether or not you get your first pick, or you get the last pick of the list.
Got it. And so before, like you're saying, it was based off of your performance in A school, like how you were doing on the tests, and you wouldn't find out until probably around 3 months into A school which type of unit you were going to be going to based off of the performance in school.
Yes. So prior to the program, it was just a point based system, and based on your GPA and stuff like that. The top of the class gets their first pick, and everyone else follows after that. So yeah, it's not like that anymore.
So you completed the first 2 months, which was like that on the job training. You already know the unit that you're going to be going to. You already know the type of asset that you're going to be working with, the C-130s. Now you've completed that 2 month portion. Now you're in Elizabeth City. And what is that like in Elizabeth City as compared to that first 2 months?
So I've only been here for about a little over a week. Starting my week 2 right now. Right now we're doing in doc. Just basic Coast Guard knowledge, like no hazing, alcohol policies, just things of those nature. I don't know how it's going to be for future classes because of COVID, but right now we are doing a quarantine. So, the first 2 weeks of us being here, we're not allowed to uh, pretty much do anything. We can't go to the gym. There's designated hours that we're allowed to go to the galley to eat. We have to pick up box lunches and bring them back to our rooms to eat. We're not allowed to go to the exchange. Basically a lot of restrictions. Being in the quarantine. By the end of this week, we should be out of quarantine. We'll have a little bit more access, but Elizabeth City, base Elizabeth City is, or Air Station Elizabeth City is definitely not not a very ideal place. But I think it has that reputation, and if you're going aviation, you kind of already know that. This is something that I've known for years. A lot of people have told me that this is definitely not. It's just boring. You come here to do what you got to do. To go move on with your career, and that's it. Like, you're not here to have fun. I mean, it's just it's just what it is.
Yeah, or eat well.
Yeah, or eat well. I'm not even gonna get in.
No, I think we could make a separate video just talking about some of the worst galleys in the Coast Guard. I think Elizabeth City is definitely up there.
Oh my God. I don't know. My last CS was I'm not gonna get into that.
Yeah, I think one of the fancy places that I like to go to when I was there for a little while was uh was it, I think Jersey Mike's or something like that. I was like getting hoagies.
Call that fancy.
There's just nothing up there. But anyway, so
Okay.
yeah, Elizabeth City. You're there, and then after you graduate, you come out as a petty officer, and then you just go straight back to work.
Yeah, basically, just come out as a petty officer, and you just go back to the unit that you were at before coming to A school. The thing with being a non-rate at an air station, they kind of don't treat you like a non-rate at all. They for the past couple of months, they kind of treat you as a petty officer in a sense. You kind of have your responsibilities and things you have to do and help out the best you can. So it's pretty cool, honestly.
Nice. And I think it's pretty funny. It was a couple, about 3 years ago now. I actually talked to my friend. He was at AMT3 at the time. I think he's still probably in AMT3 because you guys don't rank up very, very much, very well. But Tyler Bonebright. And if you want to watch that video, I'll include that somewhere down below. I know Tyler said, "Hey, we don't mention that video." I don't know why. It was a good video. but yeah, he's probably a popular guy in the AMT space.
Yeah,
But
I'm probably about to be here pretty soon as well.
yeah, but yeah, from your experience, like in aviation, like why go fixed wing? Yeah, why go fixed wing? And what is your experience like doing on this side of aviation, and kind of from what you've seen so far?
I mean, a better question is why wouldn't you want to go fixed wing? Nah, I've always known I wanted to go fixed wing, simply because of the fact that you can get your A&P license and you can find a career outside the Coast Guard. That's like, if I decide to, whether I decide to do the full 20 or not, at least I have something that I can hold on to. Also, fixed wing because of the deployments. Um, I don't want to be stuck on the back of a cutter. If you're in a helo, you're probably gonna be stuck on the back of a cutter for like I don't even know how long, a few weeks, months, not doing months. I wouldn't say months, but like maybe a month or so. I don't think they do much being stuck on the. I mean, obviously, if they need the helicopter to be deployed, then it gets deployed. But
And how big of a lifestyle change or work environment is it? You've been very operational on a bunch of cutters your career so far. What is that like seeing the other side of the Coast Guard with the aviation side?
the aviation side compared to being on a cutter is just like it's completely different. Like it's like a complete 180. It's definitely a lot more relaxed than being on a cutter, and it has to be that way. uh, because you can't have a super super high stress environment. Like you can't have like how being on cutter, you got your BM1s and BMCs like tearing you up all the time. And you got your supervisors just you know just just Coast Guard things. People know what I'm talking about. You can't have people like that in the aviation world, because that's when bad things start to happen. From the training that I've had so far, aviation is very like attention to detail, and making sure the maintenance is properly done. So if you have someone constantly like stressing you out, bad things could really happen. If you're on a cutter and an engine goes down or breaks, you're still floating. You'll be fine. They'll probably send out another cutter to get you, um, which has actually happened to me before. But if something goes wrong while you're flying in the air, like it's pretty serious. So definitely a huge lifestyle change. Different Coast Guard. I didn't even know how to act when I got to my unit. When I got to my air station, like I had no idea. It was just so different.
When you say you don't know how to act, like for people that are, maybe I want to highlight this because people that are going to boot camp, and listening to this channel or watching this, they're like, hey, after I graduate, I'm afraid of what the Coast Guard's actually going to be like. I'm afraid of what, if boot camp is going to be like that. And what you're saying is like, well, going on a cutter is also very different than, going to an air station. Can you kind of share like some of the different perspective, like boot camp, cutter, air station?
Well, I mean, obviously boot camp is probably gonna be like your highest military bearing. You know, just the way you address people and you know, just the constant yelling, screaming, madness, chaos, uh, constantly getting smoked, super attention to detail, and then obviously you transition from that to being on a cutter or being at a station. I don't know what being at a station is like, but I can tell you from a cutter's perspective, it's definitely it's a lot less military bearing than being in boot camp. It's just normal, like, you know. But obviously, you still gotta address everyone by their rank, their rate and rank. So like BM3, BM2, this, that, and the other. But it's just a little bit different being in aviation because, like I mentioned before, half in aviation, then they would be on a cutter just to prevent problems from happening. So, for example, like it doesn't matter, like E4 to E6, you know, everyone's on a first name basis, you know, like everyone just, oh, hey, so and so, you know, you don't have to be all like, oh, petty officer so and so. You don't have to be like all AMT1, AMT2. Obviously, you're still in the Coast Guard, so you know, E7s and above, you know, chief, senior chief, master chief, you still got to address them by the proper by their proper rank. So that's how that's one of the differences that I've noticed being in the aviation world. But like I said, it's just from being in boot camp is just like super intense. Then you go to cutter, it kind of just trims down a little bit. Again, it depends on the command climate of the cutter that you're going to be on. Just depends on you know, where you're at, the size of the cutter, the people that you're working with, and then from being on a cutter to going into aviation is even like more like trimmed down, relaxed because it has to be. Like it's not. It's just the nature of the beast. It's just how it has to be. Another huge difference between being on a cutter versus being in aviation. I mean, I can't even say that I'm in aviation because I've only been in it for like what, a couple months now. Like I don't have the full experience of it yet. But it's definitely like I find myself missing being on a cutter sometimes, and it's actually kind of weird. Just like the friendships and the camaraderie, and then you know, it's a lot of fun. Like, you know, even though you definitely have your tough times and stuff like that, but being on a cutter was definitely a great experience. And I'm not sure how aviation is gonna uh, pan out, but I'm sure it's gonna be just as it's gonna be probably better than being on a cutter. But we'll see how it goes.
I think you brought up a good point. It's like in boot camp, you know, when you go through boot camp, you're going through a lot of pain together, and there's a lot of discomfort, and through that you build up these relationships. Whether you maintain those relationships or not, you know, is another thing. But it's that experience that you've really kept. The same with like being on a cutter. It's like, you know, you guys are in uncomfortable situations. You're with each other all the time. As opposed to when you're at like an air station, or if you're an IT or yeoman or one of these other rates that, you know, isn't maybe like in a cutter. You know, you go home at the end of the day, you know, you check out. It's like it's, you know, clock out time. You part your separate ways, and you can kind of you know, be yourself, as opposed to when you're on a boat or in boot camp or like in these tight knit situations. It's like you're always going to be there. So it's, you know, it's something that you're never going to experience really anywhere else.
Exactly. Like, you know, being in boot camp and being on a cutter, you know, in boot camp, I wouldn't say you're with the same people for the whole 2 months because obviously people get kicked out or get reverted or whatever. But for the most part, you're with the same people. So like you kind of become like almost like like a little family. I mean, I still talk to a lot of people that I went to boot camp with and I graduated with. I still have, you know, I still talk to a lot of them. And then the same thing with being on a cutter. Like you have to think like you're spending days and weeks at a time with these people. Like, you know, you wake up in the morning, they're there. You know, you go to bed, you wake up again, they're there. You don't get to go home and relax and just be yourself. You know, you're hanging out. I mean, you can be yourself, but like you're with the same people like for days and weeks, and you just form really close bonds and friendships.
Awesome. Well, you know, if you want to give a little rundown, kind of what's next on Hattie's agenda, are you like where do you see yourself right now going into the future? You give a little history, so you can watch this back in, you know, another 3 years and be like, oh, that's, you know, there's young Hattie.
Yeah, well, honestly, right now the plan is to graduate A school. That's like the main focus right now. So I'm here. We haven't been told how long we're gonna be here for. It's looking anywhere from 2 to 3 months. I think it has to do with the holidays coming around, and not really sure what's gonna happen with that. But that's my goal right now. Hoping with all the seat time that I have that I'll be making second relatively soon, like, faster than someone else who doesn't have seat time. So I'm gonna try and make second while I'm at this unit. Yeah, I want to get my A&P license so that way if I decide to get out of the Coast Guard, that I can go be an AMT somewhere else. That's what it's looking like right now. And I'm gonna be in Air Station Clearwater for the next, I think, 4 to 5 years. So we'll see. Maybe we can do another video in 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, Hadi with the baby.
Nah, that ain't gonna happen.
What it's like being a baby daddy in the Coast Guard. All right. Well, appreciate you taking the time, Hadi. Yeah, and of course, anybody that's listening to this that want to get the latest information, be able to connect with other people that are joining the Coast Guard, down below there's going to be a link. You can join the Coast Guard Boot Camp Preppers Facebook group. Ask your questions there. Lots of people. Hadi's probably not going to be floating around because he's busy doing other things.
Yeah.
But definitely connect with people that are interested in joining the Coast Guard. Talk with them. There's also some recruiters in there answering your guys' questions, so you can connect with them. Great place to be. But thank you so much, Hadi. And until next time, talk to you all later.